Welcome, guys, to another episode of Irnieracing News. As many of you have seen, the liberal budget, or should we call it the liberal debt deficit, increasing $54 billion. Trudeau wants more of our money. He's taxing everybody. Now he's taxing the upper $250,000 income range by 67.2% from 50%. Insane. If you make, and you know, what does $250,000 get you these days? Nothing much. So you're not even like rich, and they'll just tax you to death and spending all our money. Let's watch a liberal premier also disappointed about the carbon tax, which is making everything more expensive.
Friend of the Liberal Party federally. Now it seems like it's maybe not. You're fighting them.
No, I'm not fighting. I mean, I think, you know, on the carbon tax in particular, the Prime Minister has tried to bait me at times with certain ad hominems and name calling almost. But look, we have a very different opinion on the carbon tax. It's not right for the people of the province. Right now, given the inflationary pressures, given the indirect costs and induced costs that trickles down to people's tables, we hear that, we understand that. I wish the Prime Minister would understand that. He's being very sclerotic in his approach on this ideologic marriage that he has to this principle. That's not to say that we don't believe in fighting climate change. We certainly do, but this policy is wrong for the people of the province right now.
The capital gains tax hike, which was just outlined in that report, ultimately has the government going after those who save in the country. And that will have implications for tax planning, family investment decisions, and that big long-term issue of productivity. Derek Holt is a vice president and head of capital markets economics at Scotiabank. He joins us now. Derek, why don't you lean a little bit more into that concern that you...
Here, we need faster productivity growth. To get that, we need more investment. And in order to get more investment, we need to generate savings and or go into deeper hawk to external creditors. And so generating domestic savings is extremely important, and we're not very good at that. The relatively few who do save are the relatively upper income households. The lower bottom three quintiles and on an income distribution basis dissave on net. And so what we're doing here is going after the people who are generating the savings that could back investment and back productivity.
Right now, for too many young Canadians, the promise of Canada, the kind of Canada that older Canadians came of age in, it doesn't feel like it's working. People can have a good job. They can be working hard, but they are just not sure that's going to lead to a safe and prosperous and secure life, including being able to buy your own home. And that's something that we have to do something about.
Who's been in charge the last 8 or so years when stuff started to get a little rocky?
A 9th consecutive deficit, with the budget still not balancing itself. And everything on which the Prime Minister spends gets worse and more costly. He is spent, and Canadians are broke. The country is broken. We have a doubling of housing costs. We have 8,000 people joining a Facebook group to study how they can get a meal out of a garbage can after food prices have gone up faster than at any time in a generation because of the carbon tax he's imposing on our food, a carbon tax that with the help of the NDP, he plans to quadruple to 61 cents a litre. And today, did he learn anything from these catastrophic failures? No, he doubles down on the same failure with $40 billion of new deficits, $40 billion of new spending. That's to say $2,400 for every family in new debt and new inflationary spending. And now, for the first time in a generation, we're spending more on debt interest than on healthcare. That's money for bankers and bondholders rather than doctors and nurses.
Right.
And the great example of how wonderful government can be, given after a tremendous theatrical pause, was the government's purchase of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. What would have happened if the government had just gotten out of the way? Asked the finance minister. The answer is the thing would have got built with private money rather than $30 billion of taxpayer bailouts.
That's right.
In fact, A project the Prime Minister said would cost $5 billion is up to $30 billion. Mr. Speaker, that is 500% over budget. It is $2,000 in costs for every single Canadian family for a project the private sector was going to be building on its own, and the company that was going to build it bought out, taking the money to Texas, where they're building Texan pipelines with Canadian dollars. All of our exes are in Texas, Mr. Speaker. And then, to close it off, we got some of the most hair-raising ideological fervor from the minister, who says that what Canadians really need is a stronger government. Well, they have created a stronger government in order to make for weaker and more suffering people. This is not a government that gives people everything they want. It's a government that
takes everything from us and makes us suffer, so we fall back onto suckling the tit of the Liberals to not die. Yep, that's it, guys. Collectivism at its finest. Welcome back to Canada. It's really pretty shitty to be here, except for the sun's finally coming out, but I'm back in Canada, guys, and preparing for my court case on May 2nd, continuing my cross-examination of Constable Conrad Erbs, Tyrant Police Officer Conrad Erbs in Kelowna, BC. Make sure you go check out the playlist, City of Kelowna Harassment, on the Irnieracing channel. Just go under playlist, look down, you'll see a City of Kelowna Harassment. Maybe I should just change the title to Constable Conrad Erbs Harassment at the Freedom Convoy, January 29th, 2022. So now 2 years, February, March, April, 2 years and 3 months later, still going to court, guys. That's the court procedure. I could file a Jordan case that I haven't had my court in a reasonable allotment of time. I haven't been able to defend myself in a reasonable time frame, and over 2 years well exceeds the 18-month quota that was done in the Jordan case for criminal matters, let alone provincial matters, right? Anyways, Irnieracing, guys. Like, subscribe, make sure you write in the comments something, what you think's happening. What do you think about Justin Trudeau's new budget? What do you think about the carbon tax? Now I see it at the pump, $2 a liter, and it's not even summer yet. That's the cheap prices of the spring, winter. Over.